Okay guys, so there's a new competitive mode called Breakthrough. That's right, Gameinformer today actually showed some gameplay of it, and I do want to talk about this game mode. I also want to talk about kind of like competitive in general, because we will mention how competitive stands right now. And I also want to talk about time to kill, because I'm not sure what the archetype of this auto rifle is, but I'm pretty sure it's a 600 round per minute archetype. So first off, let's talk about this game mode. So Breakthrough is essentially starting off with 2 teams of 4. There is a center point in which one team will be defending and another team will be on offense. Essentially, the team on offense is going to try to overtake that center area. And after they overtake it, they will then be able to move on to the second area. And if they overtake this second area, then they win the round. And of course, on defense, you're just required to defend each of these points. Now, what's pretty interesting to me is if the first point is lost, which is normally like a center point, if that first point is lost, then the second point will be right outside the enemy spawn. So this gives a huge advantage to the people on defense. They can just continuously keep filtering out and keep jumping on the defense point, but there's actually a debuff that will go into place that will actually lengthen that spawn time for you after you lose that first point. So obviously they want to put a lot of emphasis on you pushing together as a team and getting an actual team wipe on your enemies. Now the first thing I want to draw our attention to is the time frame of which these matches are going to take place. These do seem pretty long, but a lot of these matches went to the second point, and that's what I want to bring up. So the first point, before you can even begin capturing it, it essentially says calibrating breaker, and there's like a time countdown of which before you are allowed to actually deploy the breaker. And then of course, once that countdown is counted all the way down, you can begin capturing and deploying the breaker. Now if the team on offense captures that first point, they can then move to the second point, and that will also add a bump to their total time. Now at one point in the game, there was a sudden death moment. This is a good thing, because the last thing I want in any of the competitive modes is to keep playing rounds over and over again because they resulted in a draw. So anyways guys, we won't be seeing this game mode being shipped with Forsaken, but it'll be sometimes afterward, and it'll probably be in the same mix with our other game modes, and I'm hoping we get a little more game modes added to us as well, and something that's on rotation. So I'm sure we'll still have survival, I'm sure we'll have countdown, and then breakthrough will be part of that mix as well. Now let's talk time to kill, man. That's something that we haven't really been speaking about, because well, there was a Crucible podcast not too long ago. They had Josh Hamrick, they had Newski on there, Tocom on there, and they essentially said that TTK is something that's definitely on their radar, but nothing's going to be changed before Forsaken is what they said, and they'll probably have to wait until after Forsaken, which is why we're seeing gameplay like this, which will be rolling out after Forsaken. But the good thing is at least they are looking into time to kill, because for a while there, at least from the podcast, I was concerned, because what was mentioned was how big of a deal time to kill changes are, because they would have to go to there and do a complete sandbox overhaul, and that it's lengthy, it's time consuming, it's also expensive. So I mean, there was a lot of things there that was concerning me, that I was just thinking it was Bungie's way of saying, we're not really gonna worry about it all that much. But seeing actual tangible gameplay, guys, of this, and essentially this is a 600 round per minute auto rifle at work here, you're actually getting to see the damage numbers in front of you. So let's go ahead and point to some things. Number one, the crit damage right here is 21 per crit. Body shot damage is 13. So let's go ahead and start making some comparisons. Right now, currently 600 round per minute auto rifles in Destiny 2 hit 17 per crit, and they hit 13 per body shot. So the body shot is definitely not changing, which is okay with me, because guess what? That's how you get a skill gap in the game. You want to know where skill gaps come from. You want to see what the difference in damages from your crits to your body shots, because that is how you define skill in most all games. Any player that can take the time to land that crit shot should win in that fight, and that really is what defines a skill gap. And the biggest problem in D2 for the longest time is not necessarily that the time to kill wasn't great, it was the fact that the difference between body shot time to kill and critical shot time to kill was hardly different. I mean, when we talk about different, you know, a difference of only like 0.15 seconds, it's not that much of a difference. So here at 21 per crit, guys, we're actually looking at, yeah, that's right, old D1 time to kill for this same archetype. Monte Carlo was a 600 round per minute auto rifle even in D1, and that would essentially put us at a time to kill, at least optimal time to kill, of 0.9 seconds. Now what's so beautiful about that, and the reason why I like that there's going to be such a big gap between crit shots and body shots, is that body shot TTK is still going to be there at 1.5 seconds, meaning that the guy that does take the time time and he lands those critical shots, he deserves and will win that gunfight. So overall, time to kill is something that definitely needed to be changed, and there needed to be a widening in that skill gap, and I'm glad that they are working on that. When that will be shipped, I have no idea. Hopefully very soon after Forsaken, because we're going to have special weapons and they're going to be available, and you need kind of a faster time to kill to compete against one-hit kill weapons. So guys, let's talk about the supers that we saw. Right off the bat, guys, I'm going to go ahead and say this. Dawnblade looks super nasty. Dude gets an OV and he does more damage. Hot damn it, boys. And look, it's like in mid-gunfight, he pops that thing and he goes straight into it. So I think Dawnblade has much potential in these type of game environments because, you know, you're defending a point. I don't know the time frame of what you're allowed to use this super for or that rift, but I mean, if it's for a good while, then my God, you could pretty much lock down a point all by yourself. Now let's talk about these hammers. Man, these hammers, dude. I am just hoping to God that they have never used a hammer titan in their life and they just didn't know what the hell they were doing. Outside of that, though, these hammers got absolutely fucked. Now, I said that this was my worry. Remember, guys, remember when I was talking about classes, I said that I was concerned that this big-ass hammer, despite it being big, man, it's going to take you a while to wind up. And that little swirling ability don't mean shit to a hoppity-hop hunter. And that's exactly what happened. They all bounced away from him and they backed up and they shredded his poor ass down. So, I don't know for sure yet, but it looks as if the hammer class might not be the optimal PvP choice. It may be the current Ember class that we use with our hammers being the more optimal PvP, and I still think that that's probably going to be one of the best PvE classes. But in terms of PvP, from what I see here, it just wasn't working. I saw them trying to do some overhead smashes. Didn't work out for them. So hopefully those guys from Gameinformer, man, they just didn't have enough testosterone in them to use such a class. And I completely understand that, man. There's a lot that goes into being able to wield such a hammer. So yeah, I can see that definitely being the case. Let's talk about Gunslinger. A Gunslinger's nasty, guys, but it has to be. Everybody's playing Pole Dancer for a reason. And on top of that, you're going to have Night Dancer coming up soon, which looks, oh my God, it looks good, which we didn't get to see in gameplay though. But Gunslinger has to be good. And essentially what I see from Gunslinger is I really don't know of a way to dodge that fucker. The animation is quick, it's fast, and it's accurate as hell. So yeah, it does look like it can get multi-kills off of a point. The bad part is it is a single-use super, as in if there's only one enemy there, it looks like you're only going to get that one kill. It's not a roaming super, say the least. It's like a super shutdown super, which really takes me to my next point. I wonder how it would do against other supers in terms of just shutting down a roaming hammer or roaming striker or anything like that. Now, the Stormcaller got immediately shut down. I don't know if he quit shooting his Storm, if it was the end of the round and supers just die at the end of the round. I don't know. But regardless, he shot his super and then it was immediately gone. I'm assuming he let off the gas is what happened here and he quit shooting it. But regardless, before he did that, he melted that guy pretty damn quick. And I'm assuming he could have melted everyone else. Now, he was kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. If you notice, he was like almost like just stagnant there in the middle of the air, which we all kind of assume would be the case with Stormcaller. So guys, I like the look of the new competitive mode. I hope they do put it in pretty soon after Forsaken launches, and I hope they got some other things lined up. And this is where like Crucible Labs would come in. I wish we can actually play them right now and get a feel for them. As far as the time to kill changes, yes, that is something that's gonna have to happen. I know some of you might like the current time to kill, but believe me, when there's just a widening in the gap and when there's a widening between crit shot damage and body shot damage, that's a good thing. I promise you guys, it's really going to reward people that take the time to land those critical shots. And 0.9 seconds is nothing crazy. All that means is that things like your auto rifle will have a similar time to kill to your anti-up. And so that does bring up the question, well, what's anti-up going to be hitting? Or what's a last hope going to be hitting? And yes, you're right. There's some concerns there. But seeing Bungie take the route of actually upping the crit shot damage versus the crit and body shot damage gives me a lot of hope. So guys, let me know in the comments below what you think. One thing I do want to mention, we did see all of this gameplay with radar. Now, I don't want to get too hopeful, but I'm starting to think that maybe Bungie might be bringing us back our radar. Who would have thought the game plays better with radar? So guys, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.